Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. Today, we are going to take a look at all of the features and deliverables that had work ending in the month of November. As always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. Thank you so much for the support. It is truly appreciated. And if you do enjoy my videos, please do consider subscribing and helping the channel to grow. So each month, I like to put together a video that takes a look at all of the work that is kicking off each month, but also finishing each month, just to keep us all more informed as to what work is going on in the background. Now, before we get to it, just because a feature on the progress tracker has work beginning or completing in a particular month does not necessarily mean that it will release that quarter, the next quarter, or even in that year, as there could still be more work required from other teams, for example the downstream teams like audio, VFX and so on, or even priorities can shift and it can get pushed back until needed. It is, however, a good guide to see what could potentially come to the persistent universe when, but at the very least, it shows us what work is being done at what time in the year. So with that said, let us take a look at all of the features and deliverables that had work ending in the month of November. And before we begin, don't forget we have a Cutter Rambler LTI game package to give away, which is courtesy of Cloud Imperium, so a big thank you to them. All you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is firstly be a subscriber to my YouTube channel and comment on any video that I post between the 17th and 24th of December, letting me know what you like the most about Alpha 322. And be sure to check me out on Twitch over at twitch.tv/SuperMacBrother, as we will also be giving away an Origin X1 LTI game package over there in the next few days. So with that out of the way, let us check out the features that ended in November. Now, the first feature is just called Miscellaneous Support, and had work from 40 teams that lasted 152 weeks, and this says this includes general support for other teams, updating existing features, or small tasks that don't necessitate a full entry. Now, this likely just involves general odd jobs here and there to clean up various things. I don't know exactly what, so I won't spend too much time on this entry, but it could have something to do with all of the quality of life improvements that we're now seeing in the verse, where they are cleaning up certain aspects of Star Citizen and Squadron 42, of course. Polishing and such is my guess, but it may be a lot broader than that, I just don't know. Anyway, this was a large ongoing amount of work for almost 3 years, which I think we may have started seeing the benefits of since 320 onwards. Now, next up, we have some new missions coming to a close, the first one being Data Heist, which we already have in 321.1, so I will skip over that one. The next one, I really hope we get to hear more about soon, as it's called Restoration Contracts. Now, I was really hoping to see this shown off at CitizenCon, but I guess it wasn't ready for that. But this says, utilizing the repair functionality of the multi-tool salvage attachment, players are tasked to restore ships from bow to stern, patching up the hull, replacing missing or faulty internal components, and replacing weapon loadouts in the new salvage yard locations. It was also mentioned in a monthly report, I think, that this also requires the ships to be repaired back to a saleable state. Now, this sounds like a pretty great mission for those that just want to have a bit of a chill-out session, setting players the task of scouring these new scrapyard locations for RMC, I suppose, components and weapons to bring these busted-up husks to a standard that can actually be sold off. And this really highlights how impressive these systems are and where the game is heading. To be able to get a bust-up ship into a saleable state again to actually sell it on to a player or an NPC is pretty mind-blowing. Now, I really look forward to hearing more about this mission, as when we are able to build bases, I myself plan on building a scrapyard, offering up all of the items and ships that I've towed back to it to players who may be looking for a particular item or weapon or component, as long as the price is right, of course. Now, this mission had 20 weeks work from the mission feature team and narrative team, which looks to have come to a close early on in November, so I don't think we will be waiting too long to see this mission shown off in, say, Inside Star Citizen, but it certainly doesn't seem to be coming to the verse this year. And the final new mission is simply called Cargo Hauling, which says, making use of the freight elevator feature, this mission type will have players hauling large quantities of cargo to earn both Alpha UEC and reputation. Now, of course, we know now that the freight elevators are planned for a release in either Q1 or Q2 next year, and as we saw at CitizenCon, this will involve having many more inverse hauling companies offering jobs and other things for players to do on scale. So not just tiny box deliveries, but using these big boxes, the loading and unloading of them, travelling a decent distance as well. Now, this is intended to fulfill Cloud Imperium's vision for the cargo hauling profession and allow players to build up their reputation with the hauling guilds, unlocking better paid jobs, new types of missions, but also assets like uniforms, ship skins, and so much more. This is going to be a huge addition that I think many of us have been waiting for quite a while now, and as we know, when freight elevators come along and everything that is cargo encompassing, that will be around the first half of next year. So good things are coming, and I can't wait to see the new patches for next year. Now, next up, we have Pyro space stations, which has been quite the undertaking with 137 weeks work from 8 different teams, and quite understandably as well, as checking out Patch City and Obituary during the Pyro Playground session on the Tech Preview channel, the size and detail involved with these space stations is pretty huge. Now, when Pyro officially releases, there is expected to be around 26 space stations, all different to one another, and many of them occupied and controlled by gangs, others with just civilians living there, but around 11 of them being abandoned or derelict. So the potential gameplay available at these new massive points of interest will be really interesting, not to mention the reputation that you will be able to earn working for a specific gang, getting access to better areas or deeper areas of the space stations, unlocking new things, new items. So some great work going on there with space stations, and as we know, that'll be a 4.0 thing. We will probably see them again when the Pyro Playground opens up, but summer 2024 is when 4.0 is now somewhat expected to come. Now, talking of gangs, next we have reputation-based hostility, which means the actions that we take while we're in the verse will directly determine how the various NPC groups, gangs, and individuals react to us and what is offered to us. For example, if you take out a gang member of, say, the Rough and Ready, then that gang will hunt you down, whereas a rival gang may commend you and actually offer you jobs and ask you to join their ranks. Now, this system is of course much deeper than just that, but seeing reputation in-game expand is such a breath of fresh air, as this will provide a lot of interesting grinding paths and rewards for sticking with various groups in the persistent universe. So this feature had 20 weeks work from the mission feature team and completed early November, so again, it will likely be next year that we start seeing this stuff rolling out. Now, the next feature is called Refinery Ships, which, as you can imagine, is referring to the ability for certain ships to have built-in refineries, allowing players to process ores completely on board their ship. Now, it is interesting that they release the Arastra just as the refinery ship work comes to completion. However, I do think this is more just a coincidence than a sign of anything releasing anytime soon. As we know, the ship teams are focused on ships like the Polaris, the Galaxy, the Perseus. They may then work on something like the Arastra, as it is from the same manufacturer, but we just don't know what their schedules will be once they get those ships done. And of course, over the next few months, the resources, the amount of ship team members that they hire and train up will change. Hopefully we do see a ship refinery ship like the Expanse come along, or at least be open to the possibility of releasing sometime soon, as it would be a really nice addition to go along with all of the mining work that's been going on. So definitely fingers crossed for the potential release of the Expanse or a smaller ship, refinery ship, but now that work is done, it should mean it's possible. Now, the final feature that had work coming to an end in November was called Security Network version 1, which should open up quite a lot of potential for missions, stealth, and other types of gameplay for various locations, and more importantly, maybe even enable multicrew or be a part of getting multicrew working. Now, the Security Network version 1 card says full implementation of the security system, including other features for which players may need a clearance level, such as doors or elevators. So obviously many locations and points of interest will use this system, requiring players to find alternate ways of gaining entry, be that via hacking, forcing entry, sneaking in through vents and such, allowing for more open world choice when approaching any mission, or at least building up reputation with the guild or the group in question, and then getting permission, like official permission, to get through a certain door. But one thing that was mentioned quite a while ago was to help expand on multicrew and org systems, they need to update the permission system. And this starts with the captain, who can then allocate access or deny access to the various crewmates based on their rank. So for example, if you have a new recruit in your org and you have yet to trust them properly, you may only give them access to the mess hall, the toilets, the turrets that they will be manning, whereas someone in your org that you do trust could have access to the bridge, the cargo bay, or other areas that would be only accessible to the higher echelons. And as mentioned, when Cloud Imperium spoke about expanding on org gameplay and multicrew, the permission system, they said, was the next step, if I recall correctly. So this security system sounds like it's going to be a pretty all-encompassing system that will make that possible, and it had 134 weeks work that came to a close early on in November. So I'm really hoping sometime early next year we can start to see this permission system expand. The captain of the ship, or whoever has been given the role of ownership, for example, can give permissions to the various members on board, access to certain doors, and deny access to others. But that was all of the features that had work ending in the month of November according to the progress tracker. As we know, 2024 is set to be one of, if not the most important year for Star Citizen, with not just so many features coming along in the first half alone, but for 4.0 getting out the door, server meshing, the replication layer which we are waiting on right now. I will be doing a video covering all of the features that are expected for 2024 and just talking about what that year could be like, so do keep your eyes peeled for that. But with that said, if you do enjoy my videos, please do consider subscribing and helping the channel to grow. We are swiftly approaching 60,000, so thank you so much. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind, it does the channel a big favour. Tick that notification bell if you would like to be notified when my videos go live. Again, a huge thank you to my patrons and channel members. Cannot do this without you guys, so thank you so much for the support. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.